Stop wasting $28 a season on sprays that don't reach the bug.
One tomato plant stripped bare overnight.
That receipt right there. Sevin and neem. Again. In the next 11 minutes, I'll show you my grandmother's 50-cent fix that stops hornworms from the inside out. The reason it works has everything to do with a caterpillar's gut.
Wait until we get to the 3-minute mark.
It's a soil secret that is EPA approved organic, and it can't activate in your dog, your kids, or your bees. Here's why that matters. Here's what we're covering. First, why Sevin and neem are the wrong tool for hornworm, and what contact spray actually means for a bug that hides all day. Second, the 3-step science that makes this stuff work only inside a caterpillar's gut and nowhere else. Third, the 4-step protocol plus the 3 mistakes that kill your results, even when you've got the right product. Here's what nobody talks about when they recommend Sevin for hornworm. It's a contact spray. That means it only works if it physically touches the insect. And tomato hornworms spend the whole day hiding under leaves. Virginia Tech Extension put it plainly. Your plants can look defoliated seemingly overnight. That's not poetic license. University of Illinois Extension says 1 or 2 worms can strip a 5-foot tomato plant in less than 3 days. By the time you see the bare stems, the damage has already been done for 2 or 3 days. So what do most of us reach for? Sevin, it's the most visible bottle on the shelf at any big box garden center. Many US gardeners grab it as a default, or neem oil. I've tried both, y'all. Grow Organic actually notes neem is less effective on the chore hornworms, which is exactly the stage you're dealing with by the time you spot the frass on the ground. But here's the thing about Sevin carbaryl. It's EPA Toxicity Category 2 to 3 for mammals, and its contact LD50 for honeybees runs about 0.2 to 1.0 micrograms per bee. You're spraying something that can harm pollinators directly onto a flowering tomato plant. That's a real trade-off most labels don't shout about. Now here's the real issue. Even if you handpick every evening, and some of y'all do, I know, experienced gardeners still miss roughly 1/3 to half of hornworms on each pass. They're camouflaged that well. You find the frass before you ever find the worm. While you're burning through a typical $22 to $29 a year on Sevin and neem combos, roughly $28 burned every season, you can lose anywhere from 1/3 to half a tomato crop. That's $60 to $150 a season for a typical backyard plot. 7 seasons of that's real money, gone from seed to harvest. One of my subscribers, a gardener in Ohio, messaged me after 7 seasons of this same cycle. She'd tried 4 different spray brands, lost 3 to 5 tomato plants every single year. She wrote me, I was fighting the wrong battle the whole time. I needed something that waited for the hornworm to eat it. That's the insight right there. And that's exactly what B.t kurstaki does. The problem isn't your spray technique. It's the mechanism. Contact poison for a hiding caterpillar is the wrong tool from day one. And the right tool. It's been sitting in soil since before World War I. Plain as day once you know where to look. My grandmother called it God's mud powder. She didn't know the science name. She just knew if the earth made the pest, the earth can stop it. Turns out she was right. Here's why this works, and I mean the actual molecular reason. B.t kurstaki. Bacillus thuringiensis subspecies kurstaki is a soil-dwelling bacteria. EPA registered since 1961. OMRI listed organic. And it makes a protein crystal called Cry1A. Here's why this matters. Cry1A is a key wrapped in a hard shell. That shell only dissolves in a strongly alkaline environment. pH 9.5 or higher. Think baking soda, but way stronger. A tomato hornworm's gut runs at pH 9.5 to 10.5. Shell dissolves. Key gets released. It binds to a receptor called cadherin on the gut wall, punches a hole, and the caterpillar stops feeding within hours and dies within 1 to 3 days. Don't panic. I'll show you why none of that can happen in your dog, your kids, or your bees. 3 reasons your dog, your kids, and your bees are completely out of the equation. Reason 1: pH. A dog's stomach runs pH 1.5 to 3.5, strongly acidic. The Cry crystal's shell doesn't dissolve. The key never gets released. It passes through like a grain of sand. Honeybee gut pH stays in the 4.8 to 7.5 range, nowhere near the 9.5 activation threshold. Reason 2: enzyme mismatch. A caterpillar's gut has alkaline-specific trypsin that cuts the protoxin into the active 65 kilodalton toxin. Your stomach uses pepsin, an acid enzyme that breaks Cry protein into harmless peptides before it reaches anything. Reason number 3: the lock doesn't exist. The cadherin and APN1 receptors that Cry1A binds to are only found in Lepidoptera. Your dog doesn't have them. Your kids don't. Your bees don't. No receptor, no hole, no effect. That's it. Now let's run the cost math. And this is the dirt cheap part. Bonide Thuricide, HP 8 ounces, about $12.99 at ARBICO or your local garden center. At 2 teaspoons per gallon, that works out to roughly 50 cents per spray for a full row of 6 to 8 tomato plants. Compare that to roughly 70 cents per Sevin application, which is also rated EPA Category 2 to 3 and harmful to bees. The proof is in the pudding. Less money, safer for pollinators. Stomach toxin instead of contact poison. So, we've got the mechanism, we've got the cost math. 3 independent safety reasons. But I'll tell you what, knowing the science won't stop hornworms. Doing the protocol will. And there are 3 mistakes so common they wipe out everything BT Kurstaki can do. The 4-step protocol is coming right up, and those 3 mistakes are gonna save your whole season. Grab a pen, write this down. Here is the 4-step protocol. Just 4 steps. No tools needed, takes 30 seconds to set up. Most gardeners can set this up in under 30 seconds, rain or shine. Step 1. Buy the right strain. You want B-T kurstaki, not Israelensis, which targets mosquitoes, not Isa, which targets wax moths. For tomato hornworm, it's kurstaki every time. Look for Bonide Thuricide, HP Monterey B.t, or safer brand Caterpillar Killer. All at Home Depot, Lowe's, or online. Thuricide. HP is EPA. Reg 4282, REI 4 hours, PHI 0 days on tomato. Step 2. 2 teaspoons per gallon of water. Just 1 teaspoon per half gallon. That's roughly 50 cents for a full row of 6 to 8 plants. Step 3. Spray at dusk after 3 p.m. before dark. Here's why this works. UV light breaks down the Cry1A protein. The field half-life is just under 2 to 3 days from Sundaram et al. 1996. Spray at noon on a bright sunny day, and you've cut your protection window before the hornworm even comes out to feed. Spray at dusk. Coat the undersides of leaves. That's where they hide. Step 4. Repeat at 7 days. In typical summer conditions, new hornworm eggs hatch every 5 to 7 days. Spray again a week later. You're cutting off the next wave before they get big enough to do real damage. If it rains heavily in between ADD, a third application. REI is 4 hours. Pre-harvest interval is 0. You can pick a tomato the same morning after an evening spray, wash it normally, and eat it right there in the garden. I've done it. 4 steps. That's the protocol. Now here are the 3 mistakes that wipe out your results, even when you've got the right product. Mistake number 1. Spraying at midday. UV light cuts the field half-life of Cry1A down to under 2 days in the field. Spray at noon on a bright day and you've already lost half your coverage before the hornworm even comes out to feed that night. Fix always spray after 3 p.m. Mistake number 2. Mixing too concentrated. BT kurstaki is not a contact killer. Doubling the dose does not double the kill rate. It wastes product and can clog your sprayer. Fix 2 teaspoons per gallon. Follow the label. Mistake number 3. 1 spray and done. Hornworm eggs hatch in cycles every 5 to 7 days. 1 spray catches the first wave. Skip the second application, and the next wave feeds on leaves where Cry1A no longer covers. Set a reminder for 7 days out before you close this app. One of my subscribers messaged me after their lab mix licked the wet leaves 4 hours after a BT spray. They called the vet in a panic. The vet's response, BT kurstaki is EPA Toxicity Category IV, the safest category there is. Your dog would need to eat 175 grams of pure powder to see any effect. Across every mammal EPA has tested, the official finding is not toxic, not infective. UCIPM rates it VL not acutely toxic, LD50 greater than 5,000 milligrams per kilogram. For reference, table salt is around 3,000. That's Mother Nature's way of being precise, not just natural. Now, one honest limitation, and this one matters if you grow milkweed. BT kurstaki won't distinguish between a hornworm caterpillar and a monarch caterpillar. It affects any Lepidoptera larvae that eats treated leaves. So if you've got milkweed nearby for monarchs, don't spray within drift range. Keep wind under 5 miles per hour when you spray. In the evening, monarchs aren't active anyway. That's the real limit. No sugarcoating. BT kurstaki is molecularly precise for its mechanism, not for species. Respect that, and it's one of the safest tools you've got. Bottom line, Sevin and neem aren't the wrong idea, they're the wrong mechanism. Contact sprays for a caterpillar that hides under leaves all day. That's why folks burn roughly $28 a season and still lose their tomato plants. BT kurstaki is a stomach toxin. It waits for the hornworm to eat it. 3 conditions have to line up before CRY 1A activates alkaline pH-specific, enzyme-specific receptor. None of those conditions exist in your dog, your kids, or your bees. Rain or shine this summer, 1 bottle of Thuricide HP on the shelf, and you're ready. And when your neighbors walk over and ask why your tomatoes look like that while theirs are getting stripped, you'll know exactly what to tell them. This weekend, head to Home Depot or Lowe's. Grab Bonide Thuricide HP, about $13 for 8 ounces. After 3 p.m., 2 teaspoons in a gallon of water. Coat the undersides of your tomato leaves. Repeat in 7 days. That's it. Give it a whirl and watch what happens. Drop a comment below with the brand you grabbed and your USDA zone. I read every single one. I share a new gardening tip every week. So if this one helped you, don't miss the next one. And if you know someone who's been struggling with hornworm all season, share this with them. Happy gardening!